I can speak from personal experience that I have gone through the process of becoming my own dream girl. I've shifted my beliefs, and I still encounter shitty men. Still. So, we're not saying that, like, we want you to live in this la la land of all men are good, because that also would be ignorant to
Yes.
assume every man you come across is a good man. I think it's learning to discern when a man is good or not, and being able to make decisions accordingly.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of She's a Lion. So excited for today's episode because we are officially answering questions for What Would Nat Do? Yay!
Yay. And by Nat, we mean Nat and Nat. And we even wore color for you guys today.
Oh my gosh, I know. We were both like, wait a second, we're not in black.
I know. If you watch the YouTube videos, you'll notice we're mostly in black.
Yeah. It's a safe color.
It is.
I feel very confident in black. But I feel really cute today. And you look cute today, too.
Thanks. We're cute today. I mean, we're always cute, but we're cute and colorful today.
So we're going to be answering some questions that you guys submitted in today. And funny enough, they go hand in hand with each other.
Yes.
So that's exciting. So if you have any questions or need advice or would like an opinion, send those in. The Google form doc is in our link in bio, as well as in the caption of our episode. And send those in. You can send them in anonymously. If you don't want us to know who you are.
Yes. Well, should we dive in?
Yeah,
These
I think
are
we
good
should
questions.
dive in. Yeah. Okay. I don't think today's going to be a long episode.
We'll see.
Well, yeah, we'll see. We
I
always
feel like
end up talking.
we say that and then we have a lot to say.
True.
Because I almost feel like we should share our answer, our opinion, but also our personal experience or thought around it too. You know, because I feel like that's what people resonate with.
Yes.
I think we can't hear you guys, but
By the feedback we get,
yeah,
we assume.
Do you want me to read the first question?
Yes, let's start.
So the first question is, why is it so hard to find a good man these days?
Oh, goodness. Do you want to go first?
I mean, you already found a good man, so I don't know. I mean, okay, I don't know.
There's a lot of things I
know.
want to say.
Do you have thoughts? I have thoughts.
I do.
I know we both have thoughts. Here's an initial thought. What you believe is true will be your reality. So if you believe that there are no good men in the world, you are going to attract men who are not good men, which will only reinforce your limiting belief. Let's call it what it is. And you're just going to continue to feed that belief. And trust me, I get it as somebody who went through a divorce and has not had amazing experiences. It is easy to create the mindset and the belief that there are not good men in the world. However, that does not support you in changing that or manifesting something different. So it's really important to work on that and to shift the belief. And I guess you're not saying that there aren't good men, you're just saying it's hard to find good men. So maybe the block is it's hard for me to find a good man. So how can you shift that belief into actually finding good men for me is easy. So you want to shift the belief into it is so easy for me to find good men. That doesn't mean that you're going to date all of them or marry all of them, but as you start to put that out into the universe, you're going to start to experience encountering good men on a daily basis, whether it's, oh my gosh, look at all these men opening the door for me. Look at all these men complimenting me. Look at all these men that are treating their wives really well, and I'm observing them. So when you start to shift that, you're going to shift the reality that you're living in, and you're going to start to see evidence that aligns with what you're saying. So my first thought is start saying it's easy for me to find good men.
Okay, we're diving in. My first initial thought is you attract men at the level that you're at. Aside from reaffirming a limiting belief, because that has a huge impact on who you manifest and what you manifest into your life. The way you speak to yourself and the words that you say are so important, but also you attract at the level that you're at least from like what we believe, because we believe that this world really runs off of energy. I feel like there's no denying that everything is energy. So whatever energy you're putting out, you're putting in yourself. So I would challenge myself to look inward and ask myself, am I the dream girl for myself? Don't even think about a dream girl for someone else. Think of your dream girl for yourself and become that. And I think in that way, you'll be able to really change your thought process, change the way you move through life. And I think along with changing the belief that you can't find a good man will help you tremendously with finding a good man. Now, besides that, there are a lot of shitty men in this world.
I literally just wrote that down. I was like, we need to talk about that too.
Yes. There are so many shitty men in this world. And oh my gosh, in which way do we want to go into this? Because it goes beyond just becoming your dream girl, and it goes beyond changing your limiting belief, because we also have to know how to use discernment when finding a man, when a man offers himself to you and
or sends you a dick pic.
Dude. Bad. So there are a lot of shitty men in this world. So it's valid. There's validity in your point.
Yes.
In what you're saying, because it's true.
I can speak from personal experience that I have gone through the process of becoming my own dream girl. I've shifted my beliefs, and I still encounter shitty men. Still. So we're not saying that like we want you to live in this la-la land of all men are good, because that also would be ignorant. Yes. To assume every man you come across is a good man. I think it's learning to discern when a man is good or not, and being able to make decisions accordingly. Now, why is it hard to find good men? Because of the way that men have been raised, because of broken homes, because of broken families, because of feminism. Like, there's a lot that goes into that. Yeah, it's like there's a lot that feeds why a lot of men are not living up to their full potential, not actually standing up as the men that they were meant to be, in the same way that a lot of women aren't either. Like, right? It's both are playing into it. Men are consuming inappropriate content online, and women are making it. So there's a lot that goes into why a lot of men are not stepping up to that role. And what I will also say is, you're not trying to date and marry and be with all the men. You're trying to find your good, high quality man. And so that's what I focus on. Is sure, there might be a lot of shitty men in the world, but I also believe that there's also a lot of good men too. And all I need to do is find my good man.
Yes. And also you have to say no to all of the men that come by you and come into your life that are not good men, and that's not your dream partner.
Yeah.
Don't entertain anyone that's anything less than that.
So, question for you. How did you know that Dan was a good man?
Oh. I'm like thinking of everything.
Like, if you go back to when you first like met him, and then you decided to date him and then be in a relationship with him, like, how did you know? Because like there's a lot of shitty men that I'm sure approached you and wanted to be in a relationship with you that you said no to. So why did you say yes to Dan? Like, what were the things about him that you're like, he's a good man?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so many are coming into my mind. I think first and foremost, the way he spoke about the women in his life, the way he spoke about his mom, also his belief around being with women and sleeping with women was huge for me. When I found out that he was never a guy that ever slept around, that was huge for me because I knew that I wouldn't have issues in that department. Also because I think he values women to the extent that he won't just have sex with someone because it's a girl.
Like, oh, boobs, I can't.
Yes.
Like, you know, like those men are like, oh, I can't control myself.
Yeah, so
That's
he
dangerous.
actually finds it really confusing when he hears men talk about how sometimes they can't control themselves, or when girls say like, oh, a man will fuck anything with a vagina and like boobs, and he's like, that, oh my god, all the noise outside. He's like, that doesn't make any sense to me. And then also the fact that he was just so detail oriented with me. He always wanted to know about me, my likes, made points to plan dates around the stuff that I liked, showed a lot of interest, and was also very caring and very attentive to me. He catered to me a lot, which I loved, and I catered to him so much.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? I make him breakfast, I pack him lunch, and I make him dinner every single day, Monday through Friday. Well, Monday through Thursday when he goes to work.
And her food is bomb.
Yeah.
And she bakes.
So I felt like I finally met someone that matched and exceeded my efforts that I was putting out to my partner. He matched that and went above and beyond. So to sum it up, that plus the way he spoke about women and the way he spoke about his mom, and yeah, he was never someone that ever made me feel bad, ever criticized me, ever disrespected. He's never disrespected me to this day. Has never called me names, has never like yelled at me. So just very respectful. You know when someone loves you because they respect you and the way they treat you.
I like that because I feel like it helps to give very like practical, like, these are the signs to look for, these are the things to look for, you know, because if you're someone who hasn't seen or experienced good men around you, you might not know what that looks like. I know I've been there in the past, and so it helps to have relationships like Nat and Dan's that I can look to and be like, oh, that's what it looks like on a very practical level. Because even watching, like, I don't really watch a lot of romance movies anymore, but I've watched like maybe one or two this year, and in watching them I was like, oh my gosh, like, these are set up to actually make women like, they feed a lot of like the feminist narrative, and they also make a lot of women like the martyr, and or like, oh, just settle for the not good guy. So I think even on a subconscious level, we're being fed those things. And I just like watched this show that was really interesting, but when it got to the end of it, I was like, oh my gosh, that woman was just like the sacrificial lamb. And the whole story was like, she was with this guy who cheated on her and mistreated her, and he was actually in love with like someone else, but he wanted her because she was his wife and the mom of his kids. And like, it ends and she's like, you know, like, tells him, oh, go be with when she's like dying, she's like, go be with that woman that you actually loved. And I'm just like, so her whole life purpose was to be the sacrificial lamb, and they paint that in like a good light, and it's like a happy ending that he now gets to go be. And I was like, this is the BS that we're fed as women. And so that's why we settle, or that's why we don't let men be men, or, you know what I mean? It's like, in watching these things, I'm like, oh, this is like feeding, the modern romance movies are feeding a very specific narrative that is not supporting good relationships. So find examples. Because I remember and I've shared this before, I'm pretty sure, in a therapy session, my therapist asking me like, oh, do you have any examples around you that you could look to? And at that time I was like, no. Like, I don't really know anyone. And then luckily, like, once Nat and Dan happened, then it was like, oh.
Nat and Dan happened.
Then I was like, I have an example. Because I do remember, like, I'll share this. I remember when Dan started to come around, like, he didn't only treat you well, he also treats your friends really well. To this day, you know, it's like if we're going out to our car, he'll walk us and make sure that we get to our car safely, like any woman that's around, he will take good care of, you know, and that's just like who he is. So I'm sharing that so that women have like an example of like, there are good men out there, but then two, this is what it looks like on a very practical level. And I think what Nat said is so important about how they talk about other women. And you'll see it, and it's not just how they talk about women, it's how they treat them. And not just other women, it's like, how does he treat you? How does he make you feel?
Yeah. So now I want to switch this and switch the narrative, because you're someone that, like you said, has done the work, has become your dream girl, and you're still saying no to a lot of men that are not aligning with you because you're not your dream partner. So because you're someone that's done the work, what is some advice that you give, or some examples that you've gone through? Because I think, you know, obviously if this person is asking this question, then they're single, so I feel like they would be able to relate to you.
I think the lesson I'm learning right now that I think is going to be key in my shift in finding my person is to really listen to my body. Because you know this, I tend to get in my head.
I have to reel her back.
Yes. Especially when it comes to dating, I get very in my head. And what's funny is I've started to notice my body actually lets me know right away if something feels good or not good, or safe or not safe. But it's the moment that I shift into my head that then I'm like, I delay the process of cutting someone off, or, you know, because I'm just going in circles. And so I've realized, like, I don't need to rationalize it. I just need to listen to my body. And again, this is if you've done the work, because if I hadn't done the work, I would be responding from a place of trauma, and I would be responding from a place of, I don't feel safe in the world. And if I'm responding I'm not talking about responding based on emotions. I'm talking about responding based on intuition and a healed self. Not that I'm fully healed, because I still got a lot of things to heal. But do you get what I'm saying? It's
Yes.
like your body, like, I think our body knows. Like, if you're sleeping with a guy and you're getting like a shit ton of, what are they called, UTIs, or you find yourself not opening up to him, not experiencing pleasure, like your body, I really feel that our body tells us so much.
Yes.
So what I would encourage you to do is, like, when you're on a date, when you're with a guy, when you're hearing what he's saying to you, take a moment to just get into your body and notice how you feel, and trust whatever that is without needing to rationalize it. Because for me, it's the rationalizing that gets me in trouble. Instead of being like, you know what, my body's saying no, and I'm just gonna trust that. So being present and in your body, to me, is like, I think that's helped me move through the experience and kind of make those decisions. Because for me, it's like, I don't know what my partner looks like, but I know what they feel like. So the moment something doesn't feel that way, it's for me, it's like a sign that that's not it. Because, like, as a woman, I think we need to feel safe with our person. I think we need to feel loved and respected and at home. And I think that if you're not feeling those things, not that it's going to happen on the first date, but if at any moment you're feeling the opposite of that, I think that's a clear sign that, like, that's not it.
Yes. And I think as women, we naturally are just very in tune with our intuition to a certain extent. And then it gets deeper with more work that you do.
Yeah.
But I just think we have this given gift. So listen to that. And like Natalia said, don't try to rationalize, because that is what gets us in trouble. You know, aside from relationships, we can feel icky about a friend. We can feel icky about a situation, about a decision that we need to make. Even if we should make a left turn, because your intuition knows, like, if you make that left turn, you're going to get into a car accident, but somehow like your body just knows make that right turn.
Yep.
So just listen to that and don't try to rationalize it. Yeah, but also leave space for your person to come in. You can't, like we just talked about in the previous episode, that when you have people around you that shouldn't be in your energy or in your space, they keep you lower. You don't make the space for the people that are supposed to be in your life, in this case your person, to come in, because that space is being occupied by people or men that should not be there.
Yeah.
So leave that space open for your partner.
And also let yourself go through the evolution and the process of your dating life. So like one of the things I was thinking about today that I think is relevant to this is how there's been seasons in my journey where dating apps really made sense for me. Like when I first started dating, I had like zero confidence around dating. I didn't have a lot of confidence around myself. I thought that no one was going to want me because I was divorced, and I thought I was old, and like all these weird beliefs. So getting on apps was so helpful for me because I was like, look at all these guys that want me. Like, and I would go on these dates, and I had to learn to date, and it was so much fun, and I felt wanted, and I knew it built up my confidence, And it's served me so well in different seasons. And then there's been seasons where I'm not on them. And then now where my energy is I feel like I don't want to be on them because I'm giving too many people access to me that I don't want to have access to me. I only want my person to have access to me now. And that's where I'm at now. And so, but it wasn't wrong, those moments that I had to go through, because it served me in my evolution. So be conscious of like, where am I right now in my dating journey and what's going to support me in this season? And trust that, because that's going to help you get to where you're meant to go.
Wow, we took 25 minutes to answer
That's
one
going to be a
question.
whole ass episode. Good thing we didn't have more questions. Just kidding. Do you want to go into the next one, or do you want to say anything else?
No, I think we pretty much touched on the big points.
Yeah. The last thing I'll say is like, your good man is out there.
Yes.
Your man is out there, and he's going to be good to you. Don't settle. Ooh, should I share the elevator analogy that
Oh, yes.
Do like elevator? Okay, this is not my analogy. Oh my god, what is her name? There's this lady that does Akashic Records reading. Her name is Mina something. Just a beautiful soul. She did a reading for me, and I kind of told her, because if you're single, we get, and by we I mean me, we get impatient, right? It's hard as a 32-year-old woman to be single when you're surrounded by relationships. You're watching everyone else like be loved on, and you're just like at home on a Friday night, not speaking from personal experience, while everyone's out on their dates, right? It's hard, and you can get impatient. And in this reading, this lady gave me the most beautiful analogy, because I told her, I was like, I'm so tired of people, because I would get readings, and of course I would ask about love, and they'd be like, oh, it's not your time yet, or you're still healing, or blah, blah, blah. And I got annoyed, because I was like, when is it my time? Like, when have I done enough healing? And why am I letting these readers tell me it is not my time? I was like, why can't I just do it now? And she gave me this analogy that I'll share with you guys, where she was like, look, rewind. Try that again. Okay, as we're moving through our healing journey, it's like you're going up an elevator, right? You're at this level, and then you go up to the next level, and then the next level, and then the next level. And what she said is, there is somebody for you at every level. But that means what's going to happen is they're going to match that vibration that Nat was talking about. Like, they're going to match your vibration at that level. So if you're in the elevator of healing and you get off, and let's say you're on floor number 40, you're going to meet the person who matches that version of you. And that's the relationship you're going to get into. But if you continue to grow, and let's say now in your healing journey, you're on level 50, but you're still with the person from level 40, there's going to be a misalignment and a mismatch. And you're eventually going to like outgrow them and want something different. And with that analogy too, she did share, she's like, I do believe that at some point you get to, let's say the top floor is like level 100 and you meet your person, right? And it doesn't mean that you don't continue to heal, because you do. But she's like, I do believe, and I believe this too, I do think there is like our best person in this lifetime. I think we have multiple soulmates, but I think we have like this is like the person that really is the most aligned with you in this lifetime. And she's like, you do eventually get there if you're willing to hold off, because you could settle for the person at level 60 and marry them and be with them and be okay. But if you're willing to wait for a person at level like 100, right, it's going to be that much more beautiful. So I am on that elevator with you. I don't know why I just thought of the Willy Wonka elevator, but
I was going to say, you should be so excited.
I am. I'm also like, what floor am I on? But I am. I think I can say that I'm the most content right now that I've ever been. I think I've always desperately craved a relationship, and now I'm just kind of like,
Good.
I'm okay.
Good. And I think because you're feeling like that, it'll open up the energy more to be more receptive.
I know that the moment I don't want it, and not that I'm not going to want it, but just like the moment that I'm like whatever about it, it's going to appear and I'll be like, of course.
It's the detached energy.
It is. I feel like I'm almost there. I'm not like fully detached, but I'm also not like desperate either. I'm kind of in
the middle.
In the middle right now. I'm kind of like, I'm okay, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. Just going up the elevator. Yeah, any final thoughts for you on that one?
No, I think that was a beautiful ending to end off with there for that question.
Okay, so the next question is, what are your thoughts on having children? How old is too old?
Do you want me to start?
Yes, because you're the one that wants babies.
You want them more than I want them.
But you want them now. You skipped the timeline.
Why did I just get like this image of me jumping off of my butt? Because you're just jumping timeline, so I was like bouncing off the floor. Okay, I have a lot of thoughts around children. I've never ever been one to want children, to want to be a mom, to want a family. Funny enough, in middle school, whenever we were given the exercise of looking into our future to see what our future was going to look like, I always just pictured me living in like a loft with my cat, and I didn't even know what kind of cat, and just really super busy with my career. So I never grew up wanting children, never had that urge to be a mother. It's only now that I've met my person that I've considered being a mom, and as of lately, I feel like I don't want to say it. Like I'm ready. But the way I view children, I see them as such a huge responsibility. And everyone knows that they're a big responsibility, but I don't think that people really dive deep into what it means to raise children and be an extraordinary mom. Every mom is extraordinary, but a lot of people don't do the healing work and are not mindful and conscious about how your actions and what you say and do is going to impact your children for the rest of their life and is going to make them who they are as adults. A lot of people see children as like these cute little babies. I've never had baby fever. I've never seen a baby and have been like, oh my God, I want one. Never in my life, ever. And I think the reason why is because I know the depths of becoming a mother and having children. And I think that that is also why I don't get swayed with like baby animals either. A lot of people will adopt animals when they're babies, and then once they become adults, they give them off they take them back to the shelter because the cute little face has been outgrown. And I as well don't see babies in that sense where I'm like, oh my God, they're cute, because I know that that's only for a blink of an eye before they become um, teenagers and then adults. So I think that people that want to have children need to be very extremely mindful about who they are as an individual. How much healing work have you done to be the best parent that you can be? Who are you choosing as your partner? Because who you choose as your partner is going to, like, be such a huge, how can I say this? Who you choose as your partner to be the father or the mother of your children is one of, like, those decisions that has to be the most decision that you, like, the most important decision you ever make in your life.
Mm-hmm.
So those are my initial thoughts. I'm going to stop it there and hand it off to Natalia, and then we'll come back to me because I have a lot of thoughts. But I could keep going off.
I mean, by all means. I'm just taking notes. Yeah, my first thought is, I feel like this actually ties back to the first question of why there's not good men. There aren't good men because there were little boys that weren't raised right. Mm. So if we want there to be more good men in this world, then it is our responsibility as women who want to become mothers to choose good men to raise little boys who are also going to become good men. That's why Nat's saying it's so important for you to choose your partner consciously, because who you're choosing, like the way that I'm approaching dating is that I'm saying I'm looking for two people in one. And when I observe a man, I ask myself, do I see him as my lifelong partner? And two, do I see him as the father of my children? Do I think that he is, one, the most amazing man I've ever met? And do I think that he's a good example of a man? Because in our relationship and in our parenting, I am going to be the example of a woman to my children, and he is going to be the example of a man to my children.
And he will also be the example to your daughter of how a man should be treating a woman,
exactly.
And vice versa.
He's going to teach the boy how to treat women, how to be a man, and he's going to teach the girl how women deserve to be treated. And I am going to be treated by him for the rest of my life. So I need to be conscious of that. So I think that there needs to be a switch into conscious parenting. I think that right now there's a lot of passive parenting happening, where people just have kids because they're supposed to, or it was an accident, and then they're just kind of like passively parenting their kids without realizing how this is impacting the evolution of the soul, and it's also impacting the kind of human that they're going to become in this world. This is why we talk about the importance of provider men, because, for example, for me, it's like I want to find a partner who is going to allow me to focus on raising my kids as my number one priority when they're born, because the way I see it is once I have them, it's my responsibility to raise them. I want me to be the majority of the influence in their life. I want them to feel that security, that love from a mother. And that's how I'm going to help elevate the consciousness of the world, is to raise kids in the way that they are meant to be raised so that they can become a good man and a good woman in this society. So that's my initial thought on that.
Yeah, I think we both have even seen in our lives how people just decide to pop children out because they think it's like the thing to do, and continue to choose poor people to have children with. I'm not talking about poor like monetary. I'm talking about just, not good people to have children with. And I've seen that play out, and I've seen, like, it's not like the children's fault. You know, that they're not asking to be here. So as a grown, conscious adult, you need to be very, very mindful of how you're going to have children, how you're going to raise them, the partner that you're choosing. I don't understand how a lot of people see having children as so lightly, as they're cute, I'm going to raise them, I can be a single mom, I can blah, 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 blah. And there's nothing wrong with single moms. There isn't, because sometimes there are situations that are out of our control. Sometimes we end up being with people who are completely different than what we thought they were. But this is why we need to be extremely mindful and do a lot of the inner work so that we could be, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to say mindful. I'm just going to say mindful. So we could be very mindful of the people that we're choosing, because unless you've done a lot of inner work, then you know how to funnel people out that are not good for you.
Yeah, I'm glad you touched on inner work, because that's where I was going next.
Yeah, okay.
We just read each other's minds. What I wanted to say is, like, with both of these questions around finding a good man or having children, the number one thing that you can do is your inner work.
And be your best example for you.
Yes, like you going on your healing journey, doing your inner work is what's going to set you up to attract a good quality man and to have a healthy relationship, because you are half of that relationship. So you cannot expect that a man's going to come into your life and fix all of your shit, because he's not. Mm-hmm. You're the one that needs to fix your shit. And then that's how you're going to be able to then create a healthy relationship with someone. It's not just going to get dropped on your lap. In the same way that raising healthy children or having a healthy family, you're a huge part of that equation. So I think it's really asking yourself, what am I doing now to prepare for that? Mm-hmm. What am I doing to prepare for my partner? What am I doing to prepare for my future children? Because even though I'm single, I have been preparing for my partner by doing my inner work. I have been preparing for when I have children. Even though I'm single, I'm already learning about what kids need. I'm already learning about how to be a good mom, because I'm not going to wait until they're born and then be like, what do? I don't know. Like, no, I'm preparing now and I'm going to be ready.
Funny enough, like, I've never really wanted children until Dan came into my life, and suddenly I was like, I want to make him into a dad. But I've been on that side of like social media of like gentle parenting, how you should teach children, how you should speak to children, how you should discipline children. And these are like the kind of things that you want to ask yourself and you want to prepare for, like Natalia said, when you're gonna have children, because you don't want to figure it out on the way. You want to be prepared as much as you can before the children arrive into this world, you know? Yeah. And I would even take it beyond just like the inner work and start learning skills that you're going to need for when you're a mother. If you don't know how to wash, because there are a lot of women today that don't know how to wash, don't know how to clean, don't know how to cook. I think beyond the inner work, like I was saying, you should be learning some skills for when you're going to become a mother and a wife, you know? Yeah. Because as much as there are shitty men that don't provide, that disrespect women, that want to go 50-50, that don't open your door, there's equal amount of women that also are disrespectful, that are toxic, that don't cook, that don't clean, that don't wash. They want traditional men, but they also don't want to be traditional women, same as men that want traditional women, but they don't want to be traditional men, which are providers. So it goes both ways. Mm-hmm. It goes both ways. So
yep. It's asking yourself, am I actually the person who would attract a man like that?
Yeah.
Am I actually the woman who has that life, who has that family, who has those kids? Because you need to become that in order to create it first.
Yeah, and I think that's why these questions go so hand in hand with one another. Mm-hmm. I think one thing that I learned recently that I love from the Universe Guru is how she says that the problem with today's society and the way people date is that it's transactional. and it's not a collaboration. And the same way you approach a person, the same way you approach a relationship in collaboration is the way you should also approach becoming parents and having children. So, yeah.
The best thing you can do is become a good woman in this world. Not perfect, but do your inner work, be a conscious being, because that's going to, number one, you should do that for you. But then secondary to that, it's going to play a role in your relationship and in your children's lives. So it's not about perfection. It's about consciousness, self-awareness, having love, respect. Like, you know, get really clear on what it is that you want in life, and then ask yourself, who do I need to become in order to have that?
Yes. The second part of the question was,
how old is too old?
That's tricky.
That is tricky.
That's very tricky. Oh my goodness. I feel like we're going to be kind of opposite in this answer.
How come?
Okay, well, you go first.
What?
You go first, and then, okay, just go first.
You go first.
Why?
Because I feel like, to be honest, I don't know if I have, like, I don't know that I have a solid opinion, because biologically, obviously, the sooner the better, but I don't want to say that either, because I think it's so important to find the right person. So to me, the timing is more based on finding the right person.
Okay, so we do agree.
That's what it's like, what do you think I'm going to say? Yeah, because if I was, you know, it would be dumb for me to be like, if you go past, I don't know, 33, you're too old. So then that would be terrible advice, because then you're going to just go marry the first dude off the street just to have kids, and then maybe have a terrible marriage if he's not the right guy.
And then down the line realize that they're completely not the person you thought they were.
Yeah. And honestly, like, I've seen a lot of my cousins now have kids a lot older, like their late 30s. There are more health issues. So I do think it's important to keep in mind that it is harder, like scientifically, biologically, it is harder on our bodies the older we get. But I also believe that if it's your desire to have kids, and that if it's your desire to have a good partner, that, you know, the partner comes first, and then and making sure you're doing it with the right person, I think that is the most important thing. And then trusting that if it's your desire, it will happen, it can happen. But I can't put like a number on it, to be honest.
Yeah, me either. I do know that the older we get, the harder it is to have children, and you do have more health issues, so we do need to be mindful of that. What would you say would be like the sweet spot for you if you could choose? How about that? Instead of like answering what we like what's too old for people, like what is kind of like too old for you if you're having children?
I would love to. How old am I? 32?
Yeah. I looked up, I was like, how old?
How old are we? I don't know why. I feel like 35 is when I would like to be having children. But again, it just depends on finding your person, because I feel like once I find my person, that could change. I don't know.
Yeah. For me, having my first child, I want 35 to be the absolute latest. Before it was 33, which is in a few months.
Literally. Maybe that's why you're feeling like you
maybe
want.
That's why. I don't know. But like, I haven't even thought about the timeline anymore, you know? And lately, like, the number 35 has been sticking out to be when I pop out my first child. And then hopefully the second one by like latest 36 and a half. I want them back to back and get it over with. And then also so that they grow up close in age and, you know, like best friends. But For me, that would be the absolute latest. I don't want to go into 37, 38 having children.
Yeah, that feels too old to me.
Yeah.
But we're not saying it's too old.
Yeah, everyone has their own journey.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we all have different wants and needs in our lives. So, I know a lot of women want to have children in their early 20s or in their 20s. Personally, even looking back, I still wouldn't choose that for myself. And the reason why I say that is because I really got to know myself in my 20s. I got to fall in love with myself in my 20s. I got to experience life in my 20s, really know who I was, because as a teenager, you don't really know yourself. You're still discovering yourself. And so my mom and I have had this conversation, you know, where she said, I forgot why we were talking about it, but I said, I don't think you're going to understand, Mom, because you never got to know yourself. You met my dad very young. You guys got married and started having children. You weren't able to experience your life and do the things that you loved doing and really fall in love with who you are before having children. And it's not bad. It's not bad. It's just different journeys that people are on. I said, but you still get to discover yourself now that, you know, your children are older, now that you have more time. But I do think it's different. I think, I don't know, I really like the journey that I'm on. I like that I didn't have children in my 20s because I was able to heal and heal properly, get to know myself, and now say, okay, I've done it all. I'm ready to have children. And now, because I'm at the best that I can be, I feel emotionally and mentally able to have children. So not saying that it's bad to have children in your 20s. Again, everybody has their own journey, you know, but like Natalia also said, it's about finding that right person as well. I don't think in our early 20s we have I don't think we're fully mentally developed to even know how toxic someone can be and to actually go really deep on a healing journey so early on. I see like 20, 21, 22-year-olds still as teenagers, you know, so I can't even imagine healing to the extent that I have been in my early 20s. And now I feel, because of the level that I'm on, I could be the best mother that I know that I can be.
Yeah. So I think this is where I think a little different than you. Because, well, first I agree with her in the sense that I'm so glad I did not have a kid in my 20s. Like, not the right choice for me. I would have been fine. Our kids would have been fine if we had them. But I'm glad I didn't, because I had to very much go on a journey, same as Nat, figuring out myself, inner healing, all of that. I was not ready. I think what I do see maybe differently is, I think that somebody who is raised consciously could be in a different position. So for example, I feel like your daughter and my daughter, I could see them getting married and having kids in their 20s, like mid-20s, maybe late 20s, because I feel like being raised in a certain way will help them to know themselves from a younger age. In choosing the right partners, they won't have the level of trauma, you know, they won't have to do like all the inner work that maybe you and I had to do, because we have already done it for ourselves and we're being very conscious in how we raise them. So I think when there's not so much shit to sift through, I could see a woman being ready at that age. I just think she'd have to be a very conscious woman.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I was speaking about personal experience.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. It definitely has, like, the way you're raised has a huge impact with, you know, how conscious you are as a young adult. So,
and that's why choosing the right man is so important, because if your husband shows your daughter a beautiful kind of love, both in the way that he loves you and the way that he loves her, she's not going to put up with any bullshit.
Yeah.
So she's not going to get into shitty relationships that she has to heal from.
Yeah.
She's not going to make choices that I don't know that she's, you know what I mean? It's like it's just a different journey.
Yeah.
So, you know, our choices impact our lineage, our the generation to come, and that's why our inner work is so important. That's why choosing the right partner is so important. That's why conscious parenting is so important. Um, oh my gosh, I just got a like visual of us talking about parenting on the podcast as moms.
Oh my gosh.
It's gonna be a whole ass.
Your man needs to come already so that we could get pregnant.
Hurry up. That's why I don't know. Yeah, I was gonna say we need to have kids at the same time, but
Yeah.
I feel like once he comes, like,
Yeah. Even though I feel like I'm ready to be a mother now, I still feel like there's a lot that Dan and I want to accomplish and experience.
mm-hmm.
And I think that that's why, like, I'm not, like, so eager about having children at 33 yet, because I feel like Dan and I have been growing together so much.
Mm-hmm.
And even though I did a lot of the healing work by the time I got with him,
Mm-hmm.
it never stops. You know, the journey
Yeah.
never stops. So I've continued while being with him, and he's been very supportive of everything and been very receptive to it and has been learning with me. So I think that that's why, even though I've been, because Capricorn me before was very like, I need to have A, B, and C before I do D, E, and F, and things lately have been so different for me. Yeah, I'm okay with like 35. I don't know if you remember when we went like hiking maybe about like a year ago. I was like, damn, I'm not engaged yet, and then I'm supposed to have children by 33, and I was stressing about it. I don't know if you remember. And then I remember sitting there and saying, you know what, I think I'm okay with 35. I'm just gonna tell myself 35 so that I take a chill pill. But
Push it out.
yeah, exciting times. If it happens sooner for the both of us, then
It happens.
cool. But that's literally like 2 years and a few months away, and that goes by really fast, and there's still a lot that I want to do, so
Knowing us, we'll be pregnant at the same time.
that would be so fun. I told Natalia, I'm like, we should be annoying. She should name her daughter Natalie, and I'll name mine Natalia.
Oh my god, they would hate us.
Oh gosh. Okay. Well, I think I'm done.
Yeah, me too. The like final thought I had was, if you're questioning if you're too old, like, I would encourage you not to worry about it. And I know that's easier said than done, but I have met women who I feel like they talk about, like, the way they speak is like they've given up on love, they've given up on having kids because they feel like they're too old. And it always makes me sad, because to me it's like, if you have that desire, it's for a reason. It doesn't matter how old you are.
I will say one thing. I didn't grow up, but I knew a couple of friends in school that had older parents, and they were the sweetest, most well-behaved children. And those parents, they looked like they were maybe like 55, and their kids were like 8, 9 years old. And yeah, that's that's pretty old, but the most sweetest, most kind, most disciplined children. And I think maybe a part of that comes from, I don't know, like experiencing life as like a couple, and then being ready to have children, and finally, like, doing it and it happening, even if it comes later in life.
Because you're more mature. And don't close off to how the universe can give you what you desire. Because let's say you do get up there in age, or for some reason you can't have kids or whatever. Maybe you're going to meet someone who already has kids. Maybe you adopt kids. Maybe, like, you just, like, don't make your world so small when the universe is so big. I feel like the universe can literally create a path that doesn't even exist in order to meet your desires. So if you want it, let yourself desire it, because I believe that the universe will give it to you. I'm done too.
Okay, so let's close this out. We were like, it's going to be a short episode. There's only 2 questions.
I knew it wasn't. I was like, we're going to have a lot to say.
Okay, well then we'll close it off here, and then we will be back next week. Thank you guys for joining us today.
Yes, and if you have questions or you want to hear our thoughts on a topic or anything, please submit them, because we will be doing these episodes at the end of every month. So make sure you submit your questions, and hope you enjoyed today's episode, and we will see you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.